part of that is just like it has to be converted and like it takes a little while and stuff like that. So, all right. Yeah, that'd be great if you say hello in the chat. Okay, we're gonna start off by just taking our Vian charcoal, and let's stay with our medium right now. And I'm just gonna create a boundary box. Okay, and then let's just practice toning. So go ahead and just bring some charcoal down there. We want to tone it to like a middle gray value. So go ahead and tone it. And I'm just going to use my hand. Okay. So now again, if we like just look at the reasoning behind the toning here, if I have that, then I can just draw like, you know, this. You don't have to do this. I'm just sort of showing you all again. You can do this. And then this. And very quickly, I have a I have a multi-dimensional form. It has 3 ranges of value to it, and it automatically has dimensionality. So then I can just erase this. And this really allows us, like a lot of times in class, I will use the same piece of paper with students for 3 classes. Just drawing and erasing, toning, drawing, toning. And it really is, I do believe that it helps to remove some of that notion that a drawing is perfect. And the benefit to that is that the less attached to your drawings you are, then the more willing you are in the long run to correct them when they are wrong. So remember that when you make a drawing, that the only person who is responsible for how the drawing looks in the end is you. Like, it's up to you to determine how, you know, successful the drawing is. Like, you're the one with that responsibility. So if you just leave something because it looks good, even if it's wrong, then you're never going to be able to make successful drawings. Okay, so we're going to start off with just sort of like exploring the idea together of the form that we are studying, which is the egg. Okay, so go ahead and let's draw an egg. Just a light gesture drawing of the egg. Okay, now you've been studying the egg, so you kind of know in some ways about the directions of light. So we can say the light's going to come from the top left. So you've been studying your egg. So let me see if my chamois here will lift some of this light out. Not really, so I need to go in. You can probably still remove yours with the chamois, but I need to use an eraser. And like I said the other day, I'm moving between apartments, so I'm trying to figure out where things like erasers are. So I have this one, it works fine though. The problem with erasers that have color to them, like this one's green, and sometimes you can get them that are pink, is that sometimes if the paper is really hot pressed, the dye in the eraser will dye the paper. So it's not always a good match when we're trying to make finished drawings and things. So now we kind of know where the light is coming from. okay? And that's just like basically like our big light. So let's just leave it like that, all right, for now. And we're just going to, do a classic thing here. We're just going to divide this in half down the middle. This is your median line. Okay, the median line is actually an anatomical line. It runs through the middle of the body, dividing the body into the left and right sides. Even if I turn on my side and lay on my side, my median line is still in the same place. Okay, so it's running down the middle of the body. So divide that space vertically in half. Okay, and then lightly divide that space there vertically in half. Sorry, horizontally in half. So this is going to be your, do it over here so you can see it. Transverse. So that's a transverse line. Okay. So make sure that transverse line is through this, the horizontal center. It's transversing the median line through the horizontal center of your shape. Then divide this space here into thirds. And just put lines like that. My line here looks a little low. I think it should, that's a bit more like halfway there. So then divide each side of this, like this and this, by half. So you have this versus this, this versus this. And then there, just right above the line, like that. You can put little dots. So here, you're going to put this line here and this line here. But now this line is going to extend like to there. And then right underneath that line, you're going to put another line there, like that. And then right here, you put another dark line right there. Maybe there, that looks better. A little high. Now divide from here to here in half, and from here to here in half. And then look at this line that you made here. Make sure it's symmetrical with the median line going through halfway. Okay, and then pull a line straight up like this and this. And so this space here and here should go across here 5 times. So if I measure that, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that looks a bit too wide, so I need to diminish that line. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see we're making a little face. Now this started with the shape of the egg. And so that's kind of what we're really like thinking about a lot here. Okay. So on the egg shape that we started with, we made the first transverse line halfway through. So this is because between the bottom of the chin and the top of the head, the top of the cranium, the eyes are halfway. And that's the biggest mistake students will make, is that they'll put the eyes either too low or too high. They're halfway through the entire shape of the head. So the entire shape of the egg, halfway through the entire shape of the egg, you have that transverse line, and that transverse line is where the eyes will go, and that's halfway. Now, this space over here, which we divided here and here, that's actually the space in which your ears will go. And so let's just put them in as sort of light shapes right now, just like light shaped eggs. And then back here, this space back here now, that's the temporal foci region. That's where your temples are. And that's the space behind your ear, right? Like if this is my ear, then this space has to be there. And when I look forward, it's still there. It's still, my ears come out beyond that space, but that space is still there. Okay, the bottom of the ears lines up typically with the bottom of the nose. And then typically we have some type of hairline, especially when you're young, like y'all. Not always, but typically.
Is there a good reference point to line up the top of the ears with?
Yeah, we could have done that. Sorry. But if you have your eyes and you find where the eyebrows are going to go, typically they line up with your eyebrows. Not always, especially as people get older, ears keep growing, noses keep growing. We used to draw this really older gentleman at this university I taught at, and he'd been modeling at this university for over 25 years. And he was in his 70s. And facial proportions just didn't work on him because like he was just so, he was an older gentleman. And so like his nose was longer and larger, his ears were longer. And so I always teach this idea, y'all. This is, when we start doing this stuff, the reason I don't really like doing it is because it's all based on like these generalizations. And we are not generalizable creatures, right? Like we just are not. Like we are different, and our differences are what makes us so beautiful. And so, you know, this is just general stuff, but it doesn't mean it's actual stuff. Okay. So then the shape of the eye, as you know, is just kind of like an almond kind of shape. You can put that in like that. And then for the bottom of the nose, you just have two little dark circles like that for now. And then really importantly, coming from right behind the ear is going to be the neck. And then we can start to give some shape to this. That side's too wide. And yours may not look like this. This isn't particularly very good anyway. But the whole point is that like we're just sort of showing how the egg is the beginning of that. Now we know that the egg is round, and we found the light on this side over here. So that means that this side of the nose is going to be light. This side of the mouth will be light. The side of the chin will be light. The side of the cheek will be light. Because the egg has taught us that. So this is just playfulness, y'all. We're just playing right now. I have a whole portrait lesson. But right now, my focus is actually more on the value base. drawing approach. So if it doesn't look like a perfect portrait, whoopsie, so sorry. If it doesn't look like a perfect portrait, that's no problem at all, okay? Now try not to get too mad at me, but whatever you're doing right now, I want you to stop because I don't want you to refine this drawing. And I want you to take your chamois and just erase it away. As best as you can. Okay. I don't want you to start doing like a 35-minute, I want to draw a perfect eye kind of portrait. We're just playing here. I'm just playing. I want you to just play. No pressure. So let's just like reestablish our boundary box. Like let's reestablish our tone. If you need to, you may not need to. Just something middle key will work. Let's draw an egg here. Let's draw an egg here like this. So this one's vertical. Okay, this one's angled. Okay. And then let's draw an egg like this. Now on this side, you're going to put another egg. Like that. And here you're going to put another egg. This one doesn't need an egg on the back. Now we remembered studying with the skull, right? Like if we looked at the skull from the side, that there's all of this stuff back here, right? This is like this is where your brain is, you know? This is the cranium. And inside the cranium, right, of course, is like your brain. And so we may not see that cranium from the front when we're looking at the skull. Okay, so if we're looking straight on, we don't see any of the side of the cranium. But once the cranium moves into space, then that part has to be visible. So that's what this second egg is here. So here, just this one's the easiest, median line, transverse line about a third of the way down, transverse line. And then just put in a shadow for the eye socket. And that's all we're going to do. Now this one, if you take your egg and you draw a line that's the median line on your egg, and then you draw a line down the middle with a Sharpie and roll the egg in your hand, that median line will move. So if the median line is here, the median line would be on the outside there. And so then we would have this line, follow the line of the egg here, follow that shape to do your transverse lines. Now here, the median line is like here. And so go back to your perspective. That means that we see less of the left side, more of the right side. So you want to join those two shapes together, basically. Now you can see now that it's curved because it's on the egg. So there's going to be a curve to that transverse line. Here, there's a curve to the transverse line. Sorry, the median line. But then also halfway up the shape, we have the transverse line for the eyes. There's a curve. There's a curve for the nose. There's a curve for the mouth. Eye socket, eye socket. Let's pull our light from the right. So that tells us that this side is lighter. If it's coming from the right here, that means the top will be lighter. Probably the top of the nose, top of the cheek. Just gestural, y'all, just gestural. Here it'd be just the back of the head, right? Because the front of the head is turned away from the light. Sorry, it's a little tiny space I'm drawing in here. Fun? Okay. So let's speed up and see if by speeding up we can eliminate some of the hesitation. So go ahead and wipe away your drawing. Okay. Now, go ahead and we're going to do a head kind of facing this way. So go ahead and do your egg. Do your egg. Okay, now quickly do your median line. How do I know it's going through there? Because I got all this side here, and because there's so much side there, that's telling me there's reduced side here. So here's my egg, here's my second egg, median line. Okay, now you can see where this egg comes in, it almost comes right around into the eyes. Okay, and then nose, mouth, under the mouth, chin, done. You can put in a shadow for the eye there and a shadow for the eye there. Okay, wipe it away. Do it again somewhere else on the paper so you don't trace over what you just did. Feel it, find the feeling, y'all. Remove inhibition. This is feeling drawing. This is feeling the distance, feeling the shape. Wipe it away. This time, let's go to the other side. Egg, egg, feel the shape, median, transverse, nose, mouth, eye, done. Don't worry about like how perfect it is. Don't worry about how accurate it is. Like right now, we're feeling and we're placing this memory into our bodies. Like that's probably a gigantic cranium, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, now I'm moving fast on purpose, y'all, because I'm not interested in you, like, I'm not interested in finished drawings. I'm interested in, so these are gestures. I'm just interested in the gesture and you feeling that shape. So let's do one from the front. Egg, median, transverse, okay? Third, 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 eye, done. Okay, wipe it away. One more. Egg, egg, transverse, sorry, median, halfway through, transverse, third down, transverse, third down, transverse, transverse, dark, dark, And then you can solidify the back. This one's harder. This person's looking up. Over here, we'd have like maybe your dark line there for the ear. And then the neck would go here. And actually, in the long run, we would see underneath there like that.
Is there a way you could do like a quick drawing of just like an over the shoulder of the head? Because I tried drawing it from behind and just confused myself.
Over the shoulder like this.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, but the face is like almost looking forward, so you can like just barely see one of the eyes, maybe.
No. I don't know. That it's kind of, so I have shoulders, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the head's here.
Yeah, and then like just barely turning back ever so slightly, like you can just like almost all the details obstructed. Like you're focusing on the
There you're gonna need
the second A more, I think.
Yeah, you're gonna need to have like a little bit of the nose, I think. And then most of that's gonna be ear, right? And then head.
Yeah, just for seeing this egg to kind of represent the head, I was just, yeah, I ended up with like a Hey Arnold character or something. Kind of do that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like we're getting there into like block space, overlap space. So for that, you really do need to show like the shoulders, I think, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be just like this, like kind of like minimal amount of nose picking through, I think. And then the ear. I feel like the eye looking at us would be really important. A little bit of the mouth. And
yeah, or
this,
like for the ear, how did you know like that would be a good spot to like? Did you have any, like, did you do any division just in your head like we were doing on the front of the face?
just thinking about the kind of like the distance of where the ear is located on the head, back here, and then the distance from here on the outside of the eye to there, which is about an eye's length.
About nice.
In this proportion, okay? Or in this point of view, I mean. Okay. Let me, hey, Professor Vaughn, real quick, can you just do the most difficult thing possible real fast?
Yeah, sorry. There's so many like wonky perspectives. It totally changes all the proportions. It's so.
It does for sure. And like how much of this is viewable is like dictated by, you know, the shoulder, you know, and the quantity of the turn and the size of the cheek hiding the nose. Okay.
Okay, definitely in the finer details there.
Well, yeah, because like the way that we see the head from the back, then the cheek blocks the you know, the nose. So how much of the nose is visible in this idea? How much of the back of the ear is visible versus the front of the ear? That's what you're going to be looking at.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the curveball there. I actually really appreciate it. I want people to. It is so important to me as your teacher for you to know that I get stumped. It is so important for me as a teacher for you to know that I fail. I'm just going to show you my failure I'm working on right now. Okay, so you just practice another head. Let me grab these two paintings. I'm going to show you my failure. Okay, y'all. This is this portrait I'm currently working on of this kid. Okay, this is about 10 hours worth of work. and I'm pretty happy with it. I like the palette. I like the facial proportions look good. I teach this kid, it looks like him, okay? I don't remember if I showed you all the other day. This is my failure, okay? This is 60 hours maybe of work, okay? And I started the portrait off with a bad drawing, and so I ended the portrait with a bad drawing. So I had to restart, and so like this is where I am now, which is way better, way more accurate, and the child doesn't feel like a goblin, and you know there's a lot more accuracy in the work. So failure is a big part of everything that we do. And it's one of the reasons why, like personally, like if I have a big exhibition, I don't want to be making something the day before my exhibition opens. You know, sometimes it's the only way things can happen. Like when I did my installation at SAM, we had to build the installation in the museum. And so we closed that part of the museum for a week and we built the installation. We were sewing in SAM, we had sewing machines, we had all kinds of things happening. And then the show opened, right? But we had practiced what we were making elsewhere before we tried to do it at the museum. So like, you don't want to be trying to finish your assignment the last 4 minutes before class, because like you don't have that chance to fail that you really need in art, to mess it up, to make your mistakes. And it actually puts more pressure on you to not have that time to like fail, because then you have to do it right and you only have one chance to do it right, and that's a lot of pressure, and that transfers into your work, like that pressure. Okay, so failing is good. Okay, failing is good. Here we go, y'all. So we've done a few practices there of the shape of the head. Okay, so let's see how else we can incorporate the egg. So let's go ahead and start off with an egg shape here. And then let's put a smaller egg like here and let it overlap. And another egg here and let it overlap. Now where they overlap, just draw a rectangle. Okay. So let's, first of all, you can use your chamois or you can use your eraser, okay? And so what we're gonna do is lift out the light. So we're gonna pull the light from the top right-hand corner because we already have the arrow there. So this is going to get light here. This is going to get light here. Okay, this will get a little bit of light, but this shape here is blocking this a little bit. So a little bit of light there. This shape here is going to get quite a bit of light. Okay. Makes me think about a bee. Okay, now, oh, pardon me, this part needs light too. Through here, there's like another rectangle and that needs light. Now, down here, you want to find this bottom shape. And about, not quite halfway, but probably like 2/3 down from the top here, do a hard line, curved line, hard line. Might be a bit high, but it's okay, we'll just leave it for now. And then just go ahead and make all of this dark. Smooth away those lines, and actually we're going to create a little bit of a line there. And like, so this was the original egg. I'm just gonna harden that line or enhance that line and enhance that line a little bit. We created this like triangular sort of, well, it's more of like a rectangle with a triangle on the end of it there. We're gonna do the same thing over here, but instead of it being light, we're gonna make it dark. Now in here, the other day I couldn't think of this word, but you're going to get an egg shape here, an egg shape here. You can see where the original egg was. And so this is coming through that original egg. This is where the nostrils go. I couldn't think of this word the other day when I was tutoring. I could only come up with nose hole. So this is where the nose holes go. Or maybe that was in class the other day. Was it in class the other day we were talking about nose holes? The nose hole. So then in here, then that space in there, don't make it, it's not going to be a dark black hole, okay? But we're going to put it in dark right now. So I'm just going to put it in dark like that. And I'm just going to touch that charcoal there. Because the darkness is going up inside. So that means that if I put the darkness up here, I can then just drag that out and it'll give like the effect like the darkness is coming out as much as light is going up. I keep removing, being a bit aggressive. Now, guess what this is, right? This is the horizon line, and this is the box, right, above the horizon line. So because the box is above the horizon line, we see the bottom of the box. So this, when we look up, we're sort of seeing the bottom of the nose. We're not really even looking up. We're actually almost right looking dead on, because the nose usually turns up a hair, typically, not always, but typically. Go back through again, solidify in here with darkness. Yeah, and very quickly then we have a pretty dimensional nose. So again, this side over here is the side of your nose. So the light's coming from the right. So we can make that dark. The bridge of the nose is pretty light. The light is coming really close to this plane. So the bridge of the nose actually might be a little bit of a gray value, with that plane on the right there being the brightest plane. And then this. Would be lighter on that side, right? Because the light's coming from the right. Now we put this little highlight over here because of the way the light's moving. We know that this larger part of the nose would block this part of the nostril, but maybe it's a bit too dark, a bit too light, so we can just tap it with our finger and add some darkness to it. But we don't want to lose the sense that it has some light. You studied your egg, so you know that there's probably some reflected light down in here. Like that. So what I really want you to recognize, right, is that once we start moving towards figurative drawing, what I hope, and I don't know if it really does, but what I hope is happening is you're thinking about all the stuff that we thought about already in the class, and you're starting to see it come together in the complexity that it can be. You can't draw this nose without understanding perspective. So if you can draw a cube in space, you can draw a nose in space. If you can draw an egg, you can draw a face. If you can draw, a contour drawing of a flower, you can draw the contour of an eye. And so all of it was like kind of leading to this larger goal. That does not mean to say in drawing that the figure is the goal, but in drawing one, it is my opinion that the figure is the goal. Perhaps in drawing two, our drawing too is mostly just figure drawing at the college. But like at other schools, drawing too might be like conceptual drawing, like drawing by walking. But like for us at our college, because we're a transfer college and we want to make sure that you got a strong portfolio when you leave our transfer classes, that you've got at least a quarter of studying the figure in some context. Okay. So swipe it away. If you're not wiping away your drawing each time, you're cheating. Okay. So we'll do one more drawing, and then we're going to take another break. So what we want to do is let's look at the nose from another side. So we're going to do an egg, make it more of like a, you know, it's more of a roundy sort of bigger, wider egg. And then a smaller egg here. And then this is sort of pretty angled like that. So then we're going to pull that rectangle here. So come down and you're gonna like move into that shape there. And you're gonna curve down, okay? And then here, when that comes in contact with that, instead of going back down, you're gonna go up a little bit and over. And then there, you're gonna come back down that edge again and transition out. Oh, sorry, I just dropped my charcoal. Okay. So we're gonna pull, let's just pull the light straight from the top. So that means that all of this is going to be darker. You can reinforce that shape there where the nostril is going to go. Make this darker. And then light's going to hit that top edge pretty hard there. But we want to make this shape, which we made on the other one, we made kind of lighter because it was on the right. Now we're going to make it a bit darker. Redefine where that oval was for that second egg. And then you can put in just a little bit of a shape there, following the original contour of the egg. It looks like a cute little button nose. Cute as a button. So now here, let's go ahead. We're going to use a harder edge there. Okay. And then inside here is where the nostril is going to be, which could be just an egg. And then pull your light out from that space. We're going to actually see a little bit here. There's going to be a harder line like that. So it's almost like a little trapezoid over there, like a little square. Because y'all, this is the thickness of the shell of the egg. So then this side over here, little curved line and just dark. This you can make a little bit of a harder edge. And then you can take your eraser, erase out light. We know from the egg there might be some reflected light, so let's get some reflected light in there. And then in here, there's probably going to be a little bit of light that's running up inside that nostril. Nostrils are not dark circles, y'all. They are not dark circles. How do we know that? Because you can put your finger up your nostril. Therefore, your nostril is not just a dark circle. It's a form. It's dimensional. Okay, then when you're ready, wipe it away. But it's worth listening to. So this is my friend's eye. I took this picture the other day. The light was coming in from the left. Her eyes are really kind of like this really clear blue. And so the light came in from the left, and we can see that really strong reflection of the light on the iris. But what was really amazing was this sort of like luminosity over here. Do you see? And so that is light that's kind of like, remember that the eyeball kind of comes out as a curve. And so that's like light literally kind of like coming through that sort of, through the eye, through the iris, and kind of like reflecting in here. Okay, so it was just like this really beautiful moment with this light just coming through, penetrating through the eyeball, and kind of having this bright moment over there. But we can see here in the structure of the eye, like what we're trying to replicate right now. The crease of the eye, because she has hooded eyes, okay? So inside here is, you know, this is all inside there. We have the eyeball. That's a bit off there, sorry. The eyeball's like up in here. It's really hard to draw with this annotation tool. And then surrounding the eyeball is the larger muscle through here. Okay. Then of course we have the eyelid. And then here, do you see how we could say that's a really hard edge of light? And look how hard that edge is of that light. So this plane here is different from this plane here. And then this plane here, which is different. So if we look, we can say, okay, so like, even though this is light, this is all a transitionary, slow transitionary form. The reality is that the light breaks it into these planes for us. And then we can see those larger planes in order to help us understand that softer transition. So when you're drawing the figure, you always want to sort of focus on the harder edges of the planes, and then transition the harder edges of the planes into like the softer, more round, smooth transitions of the skin. Okay. Where are we at?